Good evening. It is February 22nd, 2024, and I'd like to welcome you all to order the meeting of the South Brunswick Township Board of Education. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everyone. So I'll be reading the Statement of Advance Notice. The New Jersey Open Public Meeting Act, NJSA 10-4-6, also known as the Sunshine Law, was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. The primary purpose is for board members to discuss and vote on board business. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the board secretary has caused notice of this meeting 48 hours prior, including date, time, and location, to be posted in the South Brunswick Public Library, the board office, filed with the township clerk, communicated to the Home News Tribune and the Star Ledger, and it is also posted on the South Brunswick District website. Mr. Pawlowski, may I have roll call?
Ms. Julie Ferrara. Ms. Laura Hernandez.
Here.
Ms. Deepa Karthik. Ms. Alicia Khan. Here. Mr. Raja Krishna. Mr. Mike Mitchell. Present. Mr. Barry Nathanson. Here. Dr. Smitha Raj. Here. Mrs. Lisa Rogers.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, sir. Approval of meeting agenda. May I have a motion and a second to approve tonight's meeting agenda?
So moved.
Mr. Mitchell, move. Second. Second, Dr. Raj. All in favor? Any nays? Okay, moving on. Next order of business is board minutes. The board secretary, Mr. Pawlowski, draft of the minutes from last meeting is posted on the on the board portal. Are there any corrections to the minutes as distributed by board members? No changes. Minutes stand as written and are approved. Moving on, we have the next order of business is the report of the student representative. Family, sorry.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Starting off with some news from the high school. Student Council is very excited to announce that contestant registration has concluded for Mr. SBHS, an event that Student Council and the senior class hosts annually to showcase the skills and talents of our school. This year's theme is Mr. SBHS Goes Around the World. Our 10 contestants will compete for the title of Mr. SBHS on March 15th at 6 p.m. in the high school auditorium. Tickets will be available to purchase starting next week. We hope to see you there. Next week, Student Council will be hosting the Student Council from Cherry Hill East High School. They will be evaluating our Student Council for the NJASC Standards of Excellence Award. They will be attending our Student Senate meeting, then meeting with our council for a Q&A and a tour of the high school. Next month, our Student Council will visit Cherry Hill East to evaluate their student government program as well. We are very excited for this collaborative opportunity and the potential recognition of our program. The Viking Leadership Alliance and Student Council are hosting their annual SB Feeds the Hungry food drive starting March 1st. All donations go to Replenish, which is the Middlesex County Food Pantry. Last year, SBHS was honored as one of the top 10 schools in the state for donation collections, and we would love to do this again. Students can bring in non-perishable food items to their 1A classes, and community members can donate at the main entrance of the high school. The Dead Presidents Society hosted their Murder Mystery Night on February 16th and had snacks, games, and pizza. Viking Volunteers hosted a fundraiser, Dine to Donate, at Playa Bowls on February 16th with the goal of helping to keep our planet clean of waste. The Viking Closet's Red Carpet Prom Dress event was rescheduled due to the snow, which will now take place on March 16th. The Asian Cultural Club is presenting their show, Temptation, tomorrow night in the SBHS Auditorium, and tickets are sold out. Black Onyx is hosting a Unity and Colors Ball on February 28th at 6 p.m. in the SBHS Blue Cafeteria and Alcove. The Unity and Colors Ball is a celebration of the diverse cultures at SBHS. Pre-sale tickets are $10 for students and come with a raffle ticket upon purchase. Amnesty is hosting an Art for Amnesty event on March 1st, where art will be created for human rights and activism, and prizes will be awarded for the top voted pieces. Now for athletics. Congratulations to Braden Paulman on becoming the 2024 NJSIAA Group 4 Winter Track Shot Put State Champion. Also, congrats to Blessing Karoma and Alexandra Mensa for placing in the high jump at the NJSIAA Group 4 State Championships. The girls' team finished 9th among the state's Group 4 schools, and the boys' team finished 12th. The girls' 4x400 relay team of Ella Karoma, Blessing Karoma, Madison Berno, and Angela Owusu Ansa also qualified for the Meet of Champions on March 3rd, in addition to the 2 high jumpers and Braden. Congratulations to boys varsity basketball senior Daniel Schwerid for being selected to the GMC All-Red Division First Team. The South Brunswick High School Visual Ensemble performed their program, Welcome to the Jungle, and placed first in their class at the Spin at the Rock competition hosted by Council Rock South High School on February 10th. And that's all I have for everyone today, and I hope you have a wonderful night.
Very good. Thank you very much for your update. Thank you so much. Okay, next order of business is the report of the president. Just a few points. As many of you know, the governor has sworn in the new acting commissioner of education, Kevin Deemer. His appointment will go to the Senate Judiciary Committee. As we know, the previous acting commissioner was never approved by the Senate as the commissioner, and we're hoping that, we'll be watching actually, we're hoping that Mr. Deemer is going to be approved by the Senate, so that's just edification for the board. Second, Middlesex County School Board's meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, March 6th at 6:45. We have been confirmed, we have received confirmation that Senate Ed Committee Chair Senator Vin Gopal will be present, so if any member has not registered and wants to go, registration details were sent to each board member. Sign up if you can definitely make it. Regarding governance training, one board member has not signed up. That individual, make sure you follow it up with Miriam Murphy for scheduling. It's important that governance training take place. Finally, I know that Superintendent Fetter is going to be speaking to this, but I need to address it. Once again, fake information, woohoo, that is out on social media. There's an individual that's just typing away on his little Facebook page who seems to know what's going on. And I'd ask him to enlighten us, actually, because it has to do with the budget, the state budget, and how it's going to affect funding in this district. The governor has not even released the budget yet. No district in this state has any idea what funding will be given out to any school district. We are not special. We don't know anything yet what is going to happen. So I'm unsure how this individual, if he's not involved in the school district, he has no children in the district, the legislative committees don't know yet what is happening, nor does the Department of Education know what's happening. This individual doesn't even show up to the Senate Ed Committee meetings, as 14 individuals from this township did. And I got to give a shout out to 5 high school seniors, and seniors, I want to make sure they were all seniors, who came to the Senate Education Committee meeting last week and testified in front of the Senator Gopal and 4 other members of the Senate Ed Committee. They were superb. The parents of those children should be extremely proud of what these kids accomplished. And there were other people there, parents, taxpayers, myself, Mr. Pulaski actually came too, to speak out, as well as other districts, about what the needs are in terms of state funding. So I'm not sure how this individual knows more than we do. The individual is not coming to help. The statement that the budget, our budget, South Brunswick's budget, is not being balanced properly is another example of the ignorance and complete lack of understanding that this individual has. It's time to listen to facts. The state aid has been reduced by almost $15 million in 6 years in this district. Further state aid funding is completely unrelated to how a board budgets, but it only relates to factors that we're out of control. I don't understand where an individual is getting that this board is out of control, that this board is not monitoring the budget. Let me remind every single person that 9 members of this board are completely aware of that budget and what we need to do and what we need to accomplish. So I'm asking the individual who continues to do this, because I can't say your name, stop the fear mongering, Stop the misinformation. Stop being purposefully and overtly malice. It's a bad look for an adult. Grow up and act like a person that actually cares about the situation that this district is in and the other 100-plus districts. It is unproductive, childish, and makes you look unintelligent. And I'm tired of it. So please, if anybody wants to know what is going on, the members right here would be more than happy to address it to anyone that wants to ask. So please, keep yourself informed with the proper information. Thank you. Next order is the report of the superintendent.
Evening all, welcome. We have a lot of great things happening tonight. We have our constable kids, where are you? Yeah. We got some high schoolers here, any high schoolers? Couple? So you're going to hear about this in a second, but the 15 high schoolers that are here are no longer semifinalists. These are finalists. These are, it looks like you didn't only bring your parents, you brought teachers with you. So, all right, great. Thank you for coming, and we'll leave that up to Mr. Varela. He'll be doing that. The next couple nights, we do this again with 76 National Merit Commended students and these 15 finalists. So it's more than we had the years before. This is the most, 15 is the most finalists I can remember, actually. Maybe we close, but we've had single-digit years, and this year we have 15, so amazing, and a lot of National Merit Commended. So just love these kids. So what I did there, kids, I tried to soften you up a bit because I have to also give you a reminder that we have to come back to school on April 1st. I'll say it a little slower, April 1st. So we used our 3 snow days, we lost our May days already, and we did just lose the Monday after spring break. So kids, come to school. Teachers, you better come to school. So that's our, I'm looking at you, Tim. So that's our unfortunate situation. You get good and you get bad with snow. But we are hopefully done for the year, and hopefully for next year we'll go back to the no snow. It was much better. Another very important announcement, we have Educator and Educational Support Persons of the Year. It's that time of the year. And this is when we recognize our educators and support staff. Information has already been sent home for those considering celebrating one or more of our faculty with a nomination letter. Please do take the time. It's worth it. Even being nominated is meaningful to our staff. It shows that there are people out there who care. This profession doesn't always get the care. We usually get the people that are upset about something. So it's always nice to remind our staff how awesome they really are. So they are. And as these kids have identified, these 15 are for sure. And the rest are as well. So it's really important. At the same time you're doing that, find us a kindergartner. Go out there, find a kindergartner, grab them and register them for kindergarten. If they're not yours, register them anyway. We don't need to be picky anymore. We just need kindergartners. So that's open, and that happens. And the more information we have about our registration, the better we can do our placement and manage a very difficult budget process this year. Later today, if anyone who stays, after the festivities are over, we're going to do a little bit on a recent bill that came out that might help us with funding. But like everything else, it has ups and downs. We want to give a quick overview of that, a quick overview of where things are with the budget, where things have been with the budget. We're not going to spend too much time on it if it interests you, and I'll get back to that when it's time, but I want to get to the good stuff. So turn right back over to you, President.
Very good, thank you. Okay. The next order of business is a presentation by Ms. VC, our principal from Constable, and the students at Constable on their Impact and Inspire Museum for Black History Month.
Good evening, board members, members of the public, those watching from home tonight. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Christina Vildostiki-Serra, better known as Mrs. Vesey, and I'm the very proud principal of Constable Elementary School. I'm here tonight with our assistant principal, Miss Lombardi, and some wonderful Constable Cubs who are here to tell you about the Impact and Inspire Museum they've been working on for Black History Month.
And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Sarah Lombardi. I'm the assistant principal of Constable School. While Mrs. Vesey and I can brag all day about how much we love our Constable Cubs and all of the great things they do, we thought it best to let some of our Cubs come and tell you what they've been up to this past month. So please join me in welcoming Zion, Christopher, Kendall, Raghav, Lillian, Jasper, and Arohi.
This month, in recognition of Black History Month, our school came together to create an Impact and Inspire Museum. We worked in buddy classes, which means we worked with students from another grade level to create a collaborative poster for the museum.
Our learning came to life when we put our masterpieces together like a puzzle, revealing a portrait of a Black American who would be featured in our museum.
Our very own Constable Cubs taught us all about these inspiring Black Americans by recording audio biographies for the whole school to enjoy. While each class became the expert on one person, all of the posters were hung up together with QR codes underneath so that we could visit the museum throughout the month of February to continue our learning. We learned that with courage and strength, we all have the ability to impact and inspire the world.
Miss Wow, one of our 5th grade teachers, helped us create a brief video so that you can see our museum for yourself. We hope that you enjoy seeing our museum on the big screen. Please direct your attention to the screen for a video highlighting Constable's Impact and Inspire Museum.
During the month of February, we recognize Black History Month. At Constable, we work together in buddy classes to create an Impact and Inspire Museum highlighting the contributions of both modern and historic Black Americans. Each buddy class created a collaborative poster that is proudly displayed in our museum. We use QR codes to listen to biographies read by some of our own Constable Cubs. We can't wait to share our learning with you. So without further ado, here is our Constable Impact and Inspire Museum.
We worked with our buddy classes to make these beautiful posters. With our buddy classes, we learned about Faith Ringgold. And our preschoolers made her art. Pesu made art! I learned that Rosa Parks, she believes in herself and she's confident. My favorite part about this project is we did it with the second graders and they did an amazing job. here because I got to learn about new people that I never knew about before, and it was a great experience.
How cute. Aw, thank you. We thank you for inviting us here this evening, for allowing these terrific young people to represent our school and all of the elementary world, to showcase the wonderful things that are happening with our youngest learners. It's really an honor for me and for them to be here tonight. We hope you enjoyed the video, the snapshot of our museum. It'll be up through the end of the month, so if any of you are interested in seeing it, reach out, let me know. That's all we have for you this evening, so I'm going to turn it back over to Mrs. Rogers, but thank you again for inviting our elementary friends tonight.
Thank you. So I just want to know if any of the board members have any comments or any questions for Ms. Vesey, because I have one.
I have
Yeah.
a comment.
Okay, go ahead.
So I sit here and I see Peter comes all the time, and that's awesome. And he brings his students all the time, and that's awesome. But it so starts there.
Yeah.
And we forget sometimes that for this to happen in our high school, this happens first in our elementary schools.
Thank you so much for acknowledging that. I know that, thank you. That means a lot to me, to our colleagues, to the staff that we work with each day, so thank you. And a shout out to Superintendent Feder, our assistant superintendents. They all were doing their normal rounds in our building, saw the museum, and asked us to highlight it. So
Great. That's
it's,
great.
you know, they treasure the work we do, and they're there every day, but I'm glad they invited us to share with you as well.
That's great. Julie or Ms. Farrar?
Yes, I just want to say that each of the students did really well with their presentations, and you weren't too shy, you were great. And also the artwork was great. I'm an artist, and I really appreciated all the hard work that went into making your museum art so that you could learn more about Black history.
Thank you so much. I see their smiles, so I'm sure they appreciate that as well.
And I just want to say thank you again to both Ms. Vesey and Ms. Lombardi for your hard work on this. Oh, I'm sorry, Smitha, go ahead. You go. Go ahead. Dr. Raj, sorry.
Just wanted to appreciate the energy of the kids. Thank you.
Aren't you so proud of them? It's late at night for a little
Yeah, it
guys
is.
on a
It's very
Thursday,
late.
so thank you for acknowledging it.
Yep.
Thank you.
I just want to say again, thank you. And to the 7 little cubs over here, you're an inspiration. You truly are. And Amanda Gordon has said, right, you have to be brave enough to see it and to be it, but you have to be brave enough to do it. And you did it tonight. So congratulations. And congratulations to the parents. Thank you. I had to write that one down because I didn't want to blow that one. Okay, thank you again to our Constable Cubs. All right, and because it is close to their bedtime, sorry, they're more than welcome to stay with their parents, but we know that you probably have to get ready and brush your teeth and wash your face and go to bed. So I will be more than happy to release the kids. So we'll give it 2 minutes until they can walk out. Okay, we're going to be moving on now, and to our next order of business is Mr. Peter Varela, South Brunswick High School principal, to announce
Who's whooping it up there?
2024 National Merit Semifinalist Student Scholars and their honored educators. Mr.
Great.
Varela.
Thank you. Good evening, members of the Board of Education, ladies and gentlemen, and that's definitely a hard act to follow. They were great. Tonight, we are fortunate to honor a distinguished group of students and teachers. These students are recognized for their performance on the Scholastic Aptitude Test, or PSAT, which is also the National Merit Scholarship Qualifying Test. Being recognized by the National Merit Organization is truly one of the most prestigious honors a high school student can achieve. National Merit semifinalists represent the top 16,000 of the 1.6 million students who took the PSAT at the same time they did. I'm pleased to say that South Brunswick High School has 15 semifinalists this year, and like Mr. Fetters shared, all of them have become finalists, which is incredible. From that pool of finalists, approximately 8,200 students will be awarded scholarships from the National Merit or sponsoring colleges, which is also tremendous news. We will also have the distinction of honoring commended students at next month's board meetings. Keeping with a treasured South Brunswick tradition, we invited our students tonight to identify and honor outstanding educators who have made a significant impact on their academic lives. Each student has inscribed a message for his or her honoree in a book specifically selected for the teacher. After I present each student to you, he or she will read the inscription and present the book to the teacher. Additionally, certificates of appreciation from President Lisa Rogers and the Board of Education will be provided to all honorees. Board of Education President Rogers, please join me at the podium. Would the first row please stand and form? Before we begin, I would like to thank my secretary, Ms. Ramona Baker, for coordinating this special honors program. She spends countless hours organizing and communicating with our students. I would also like to thank Ms. Marianne Murphy for her assistance with creating the board certificates. As we start our program, I thought I'd share some of the colleges and universities that our semifinalists applied for admission. So just behind you, board members. And here are a few of the schools that some of them have been accepted to. I'd like to now introduce our honorees as well as the teachers being recognized. Our first honoree tonight is Sia Goswami. Come on. She would like to double major in computer science and political science. During her high school years, she's most proud of being involved in a community that she can call her own. Through classes and clubs, co-captain of the Temptation Bollywood team, and becoming VP of the Model UN, she enjoys the enriching relationships with peers and teachers. I asked each student to share one fun fact about them. Well, she is a huge aviation enthusiast and hopes to fly a Boeing 747 one day because it looks incredible. Presenting Persepolis, the story of a childhood, by Marjane Sarapti to James Nobles, a member of the high school English department. Okay, you can read, Tim. Come on.
Thank you all. I can vividly remember the first time I walked into your class. See, even saying your class is a little strange because, in all honesty, it's really an organic conversation with splatters of unhinged tangents. I could sense the fear emanating from everyone in the room because, for some reason that is beyond difficult for me to understand now, you have quite the reputation. If we could have only seen the way we all bully you now and how flabbergasted you are by us sometimes. I had plans to keep a journal all throughout senior year, but then I stopped having the dedication you need to do something like that. But here, let me show you exactly what I wrote that first day. I feel like I have so much to say because it was genuinely the highlight of my day. Nobles is such an interesting specimen, let's just put it. He's quirky yet so insightful, as all ideal English teachers should be. He put a lot of emphasis on how we should feel compelled to exceed the bare minimum, not comply. There were a couple of things he said that really struck me, the first being this. We used to be scuba divers in a sea of words. But now we are just using jet skis, skimming across the surface. I hadn't realized how true or even how apt this was to all of us. I felt conscious of my role in deepening that divide between myself and literature. The other thing was, do not dishonor the gift of your literacy. Because, yeah, there are so many people who would kill to be in my position, and it puts a lot of things into perspective. All in all, I'm super excited for the class. Emphasis on super. If there is anything that sums up half of what I want to convey to you now, it's that each day has become the relentless, beautiful pursuit of becoming a scuba diver who honors this gift. I cannot describe to you how fulfilling, how exciting each day has been, always chock full with new challenges, questions, discoveries, and ideas. There are very few classes and teachers that are able to elicit such a strong desire to truly learn and be engaged in the entire experience, or even make it an experience to begin with. But your class has become home to me in so many ways, and I can say without a sliver of a doubt that second block on A-days is something I genuinely always look forward to. And I'm not saying this because I don't want timed writings in the future, but much appreciated if you take it into consideration. So, I give you this as a token of my endless gratitude for opening my eyes to the gift of literacy, because a gift is what all of this has been, and what it will continue to be. So it goes. Yeah, of course.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Noble. Great job, as always.
Good job, guys. You can sit down now. All right, our next honoree is Bhargavi Karthikeyan. I don't, okay. All right. She would like to major in business, concentrating in social entrepreneurship. During her high school years, she is most proud of winning the World Series of Innovation as part of the SB Launch X School Entrepreneurship Club, which she is now president of. One fun fact that people do not know about her is that she is a competitive horseback rider. Presenting A Velocity of Being by Maria Popova to Peter Honig, a member of the high school English department.
Dear Mr. Honig, I can't believe it's been almost 2 years since I first entered your class. I recently came across The Marginalian, and it has become a daily ritual for me to read Maria Popova's beautiful writing. Her thoughts on topics across art, science, and philosophy reminded me so much of the way we approach language in your class, as a way to capture wonder. Whether we were marveling at the beauty of the cosmos, or grudgingly analyzing the significance of a single comma, it is only in your class where we were held back, not for the purpose of assigning homework or to finish up a test, but simply because we had more to learn. I can't remember a single 2A class that ended before 10:45 on the dot, like literally. Your passion for teaching and for the English language itself was palpable. In a way, you taught us to become marginalians of our own, as we used writing and language as tools to understand ourselves and the world around us. I hope you and your future students enjoy A Velocity of Being, Letters to a Young Reader by Maria Popova. Weavers of wonder, as she calls them, across disciplines have written short stories on the marvel of books with accompanying illustrations. I really learned the wonder of books and language in your class, and I really hope that students from later years enjoyed this. Thank you.
Good luck to you in the future, as always. As always.
Our next honoree is Kaushal Krishnamurthy. Come on up. He would like to major in molecular biology. During his high school years, he's most proud of fundraising and raising $3,500 as part of the HOSA Club event that gave a local mother whose daughter has brain cancer the money to support them. One fun fact many people do not know about him, he's a huge cricket fan and helped his dad build a cricket net in his backyard. Presenting Math Jokes for Mathy Folks by G. Patrick Venabush to Gordon Barnes, a member of the high school math department.
That's great.
To the man who showed me that teaching is about more than just helping students understand a topic, that being a teacher is about connecting with your students and about inspiring them to constantly improve. When I first joined your Zoom link 3 years ago, I had no idea how much of an impact you would have on my high school career. Seeing your face for the first time, strewn with a cheery expression, jarring out in front of green and blue checkered background, I remember asking myself, is this what high school is going to be like? But as I would soon go on to realize, this was not a common experience. It was unique to you and only you, Mr. Barnes. It is a matter of great sadness that I missed out on the experience of having you in person my freshman year, but I am beyond grateful to life for giving me the opportunity to experience it the following year. As I settled into the regulation of high school, one thing became more apparent to me than anything else. You're the best teacher I could ask for. Whether it was helping me with math problems I couldn't quite wrap my head around, or constantly supplementing my confidence at times when even I didn't know if I could fully believe in myself. You showed me precisely why, if there's one thing everyone in the school could agree on, it's that you are a magical individual. I know you like to say you try to make math fun, but I promise you, Mr. Barnes, you do so much more than just that. Being a part of your class will be one of the highlights of my time in high school. Most people would say they dislike having math first thing in the morning, but having you randomly burst into laughter in the morning or roping the whole class into one of your jokes made me look forward to 1B every day of my sophomore year. Even afterwards, every time I visited your classroom, the advice you've imparted to me, the entertaining conversations you've engaged in, the words of encouragement you've extended, have all made me appreciate you as a person even more as each day goes by. No matter where I go or what I do, I'll always look back kindly on my interactions with you. Thank you so much, Mr. Barnes, for being who you are. I am beyond grateful that life has given me the opportunity to meet someone as wonderful as you and learn so much both about math and life. And all I can ask is that you continue to touch the lives of students for years to come as you have done mine.
Congratulations. Good luck to you. Thank you. Wish you all the best. You're so serious. I can't tell if you're laughing or just so serious. You're welcome. Thank you.
Our next honoree is Sanvi Kunisetti. She would like to double major in astronomy and biology. During her high school years, she's most proud of being president of the Asian Cultural Club and a dance captain for Temptations Bharatanatyam. Did I say it right? I said it right. One fun fact many people do not know about her is she can dance on the rims of a brass plate while balancing a pot on her head. Presenting Disney 100 Years of Wonder by Disney Press to Timothy Burnett, a member of the high school science department.
Actually, I'm just going to read from the book.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for being here. And thank you to Mr. Burnett as well. Perhaps you expected me to give you some kind of chemistry book, but I think our 4 years together, even though every single year I've had some different chemistry class with you, amount to a lot more than that. And I think you've taught me a lot more than just chemistry, because along the way you've taught me lessons that go beyond just hybridization and chair conformers. For one, you taught me to have discipline in my studies. AP Chem was one of the first classes that showed me how to juggle a lot of work. Chapter tests, unit tests, labs, lab presentations, reports, and constant new content. The study skills you enforced in that class served me well for the exam, and I brought them with me throughout the rest of my high school career as well. Your teaching also brought out aspects in me that I didn't know I had. It increased my confidence in interacting with others and presenting myself in front of an audience like I am today. It brought out my passion for science and showed me that if I truly loved something, I would go above and beyond to pursue it. And beyond all of that, what I loved most about being in your class during these 4 years was something simple: fun. Your inner child came out during class often and made it fun to be sitting in your class, whether you were blasting "Don't Stop Till You Get Enough" while singing along, or enacting some funny interaction you had with your daughter the previous day. I always found myself having fun. And that's why I've chosen a Disney storybook for you, because it's that aspect of your personality, your inner child, that stands out to me the most. Because it's that aspect of your personality that makes you who you are. And because it's that aspect of your personality that I look up to and hope to channel and preserve within me in my college years and beyond. Thank you, Mr. Burnett, for tonight and for a wonderful 4 years of chemistry class.
Over here. 1 second. Turn around. No, right here. There you go. No, just shake my hand. Congratulations. There you go. You can take that one. And Mr. Burnett, as always, great job. Thank you.
Very much. Our next honoree could not be with us tonight, but I would still like to honor her and the teacher she selected. Her name is Nina Layette. Nina would like to major in psychology, During her high school years, she's proud of performing in every school play and musical for the 3 years. One fun fact about her is she can solve 14 different variations of solitaire. And if she was here tonight, she'd be honoring Anna Liptak, a retired teacher from Crossroads North. So congratulations to Nina. Our next honoree is Evan Moranchek. He would like to major in biostatistics. During his high school years, he's most proud of being on varsity cross country as a sophomore and the second sophomore in school history to qualify for the Meet of Champions, placing 13th in the state. One fun fact about him is that he became a vegetarian a year ago. Presenting The 5 People You Meet in Heaven by Mitch Albom to Lisa King, a member of the high school math department.
Dear Mrs. King, when I was informed that I had to pick a teacher to honor at the board meeting, my answer quickly popped into my head without much thought. However, when I was told I would have to write an inscription inside a book of my choosing, I immediately knew picking a book would be a tough task. The easy choice would have been a book about statistics, but I didn't picture you as a statistics nerd who wanted to just read about math in your free time. And I wanted to pick a book with a deeper meaning, but I didn't want to get one of those cheesy thank you for making a difference teacher books that just seem generic and bland. After all my struggles, I decided to write the letter first and decide what book to pick based on what I write about your impact and why I eagerly chose to honor you. AP Statistics genuinely was my favorite class in all of high school and arguably in my entire K-12 experience. Every single B-Day last year, I looked forward to coming to stats, and I almost always did my stats homework first. The class just made so much sense, and it had such a light, positive mood that made its experience so much fun. I loved your teaching style, and I loved all of the mini experiments and statistical application lessons we did. And since I love stats so much, I am planning, tentatively at least, to major in the area of statistics, which is where your impact can concretely be seen. But more importantly, you impacted me through your daily actions. The class's overall lightheartedness and the sarcastic yet fun energy you brought daily made coming to school on B-Days fun, especially when I was injured for the vast majority of the school year and almost all of my hobbies and pastimes were disrupted. I exceptionally looked forward to coming to room 302. Playing Battle of the Sexes, doing fun data collection activities, and listening to you making fun of the seniors who stopped trying consistently brought a bit of happiness to my day. And when we started to bond near the end of the year during our gossiping sessions, which were mostly facilitated by Avantika, and spikeball games, I certainly did not want the 85 minutes of class to end. I picked you because I believe you were my most influential teacher throughout my K-12 experience. You obviously had a tremendous impact on my academic career and future, but your character and our interactions brought me a little bit of happiness each day and truly made my high school experience extremely memorable. As the time to pick a book returned, I decided that the book did not matter as much as the message I wrote, so I decided to ask my bookworm mom for some feel-good book recommendations, envisioning you relaxedly reading a nice story in your pool. In all, I truly appreciate your caring for all of your students and for all the time you spent making our class an enjoyable place to be. Sincerely, Evan Moranchek.
Congratulations, and good luck to you.
Thank you.
Our next honoree is Sai Praneeth Uruganti. He would like to major in computer science. During his high school years, he's most proud of making the Science League team. One fun fact many people do not know about him, and we're not going to test it out tonight, but he can go a half hour without blinking. Presenting Plant You by Carly Budrug to Danielle Rauder, a member of the high school science department.
Thank you, Mr. Varela, for that. Dear Mrs. Ryder, I remember walking into your classroom for the first time in my sophomore year. Face masks donned on to protect myself against COVID-19, but also possibly to hide my general lack of interest in honors chemistry. I expected boredom and routine work from the class for the remaining 180 days of school. I couldn't have been more wrong. Within 5 minutes, your chaotic, cheerful nature made everyone in the class fully comfortable, as if we had known each other since childhood, and few were hesitant to share their summer adventures. This was only a sign of the times to come, because every single A-Day, I would look forward to entering your class to be met with energy and passion. I've made friends in that class that I will hold in my heart forever, and I discovered an inner passion for chemistry that I otherwise never would have bothered even thinking about exploring. You show me that chemistry surrounds us everywhere we go, and that learning is a nonstop process that occurs just as much outside the classroom as it does inside. Still, I'm only one of thousands of students you have and will inspire in your years of teaching, and I know you will continue to spread that joy. In the meantime, I hope you enjoyed this book full of delicious chemistry experiments.
Our next honoree is Anirudh Pasupathy. He would like to major in data science. During his high school years, he's most proud of becoming captain of the 750W robotics team. One fun fact many people do not know about him is every day he does a Sudoku puzzle on a New York Times website. Presenting Shiloh by Phyllis Reynolds Naylor to Jessica Hart, a member of the Brooks Crossing second grade teaching staff.
Dear Miss Hart, I'd like to thank you from the bottom of my heart for everything you have done for me. Coming into 4th grade, I didn't expect much. I would have the same experience as my teacher, learn new things, and continue on the next year. However, having you as my teacher in 4th and 5th grade solidified your impact on my life. As someone who has loved school my entire life, I credit most of that love to the happiness I felt in your class. In addition to the multitude of friends I made in class, I had a special connection with you and loved expanding my love and passion for learning every day in class. While it was a long time ago, there are a few specific moments that truly represent the happiness I felt as your student. For example, I vividly remember sitting in the back of your class to help you with your fancy baseball statistics every week. After returning from my math class, I would stay back and attempt to calculate everything in my head. Among others, I will always appreciate these simple moments that fostered my love for learning and bring these lessons with me throughout my entire life. Hope you continue to inspire all of your students and bring your excitement to all your future endeavors. Love, Anirudh.
Our next honoree is Tejas Raghuram. He would like to major in computer science, and during his high school years, he's most proud of being head of special events and logistics for the Computer Science Club, which is the joint highest position. One fun fact many people do not know about him is he can solve a Rubik's Cube in under 30 seconds. Presenting Batman, The Dark Knight Returns 30th Anniversary Edition, by Frank Miller to Steve Schiff, a member of the high school math department and chair of the computer science department.
All right, so firstly, I'd like to thank the board for holding this for us and allowing us to honor a teacher like this. Today I'm presenting Batman, The Dark Knight Returns. So if you haven't read it, you should. It's a great book. But essentially, it's about an old Batman who tries to come back and restore Gotham, which is crime-ridden and corrupt, to the city that he knows it can be. All right, so, hi, Mr. Schiff. I'd like to take this opportunity to express gratitude for the impact that you've had on my life. Your guidance has been instrumental in my high school career, whether it be in classes like mobile application development or our school's computer science club. Mobile apps was the first CS course where I felt challenged as a programmer. In the class together, we pushed the limits of not only my laptop, which made fan sounds analogous to like a helicopter every class, but you also pushed my limits as a programmer. With each project, you encouraged us to truly push ourselves and our creativity, and I thoroughly enjoyed working on each and every single one. I can say with confidence that completing the course has definitely changed me as a programmer and as a student. We've worked together in the Computer Science Club for nearly 3 years now, and through it, I've learned the importance of staying organized and have gained valuable leadership skills from not only being an executive officer, but also watching how you've led the club. I'll always remember our annual hackathon fondly, even with the long planning meetings and the late night cleaning session that follows, and I can't wait to help host it this year. Then, of course, I've had the honor of being your first CS Academy cohort and capstone class. Upon entering high school, I've never imagined myself in a program like CS Academy, but reflecting back on my high school years, it's been one of the most pivotal aspects, and it's you who made it all what it was. I think I speak for everyone in CS Academy when I say that you've taught us something more than just custom adapters for list views or branching with Git. You've taught us how to think like a programmer and work well in a team. You've taught us how to network and build connections, and you've taught us how to learn. and figure out things as we need them, whether it be through questionable documentation, large and hostile Stack Overflow threads, or simply asking a peer. These are invaluable skills that I'll take with me to college and beyond, applying them to not only just coursework or computer science, but all aspects of my life. For this, I can't thank you enough. So thank you, Mr. Schiff, for everything.
Congratulations. Thank you. Good luck to you in the future. Thanks for everything. That's a great book.
Our next honoree tonight is Akanksha Rajagopal. She would like to major in biology. During her high school years, she's most proud of being president of South Brunswick High School's Viking Closet Club. One fun fact many people do not know about her is she crochets a Halloween costume for her dog each year. Presenting Sybil by Flora Retta Schreiber to Beth McGinley, a retired member of the high school social studies department who cannot be with us tonight. Would you like to read it?
Thank you, Mr. Varela. And hi, everyone. Unfortunately, Ms. McGinley couldn't be here tonight, but I would still like to thank her. Ms. McGinley, reflecting on the year we spent together in your psychology class, it was nothing short of a transformative experience to have had you as my teacher. Even during the most stressful parts of junior year, your class would always be something I could look forward to. This is not solely because I loved the subject, but also because you were the one teaching it. Your passion for the subject, coupled with your dedication to creating an enriching learning environment, has left a significant impact on me. One of my most vivid memories from your class was the clinical psychology unit when you mentioned the movie Sybil. It is with immense gratitude and appreciation that I shared this copy of Sybil with you. I chose this book because I found many parallels between the themes in Sybil and the discussions we had in class. From our engaging discussions on real-world applications and case studies of psychological disorders, your class enriched my understanding of the human mind. You had a big role to play in developing my intellectual curiosity. You helped me grow, not only as a psychology student, but also as a person, through your unique teaching style and caring nature. You fueled my interest in psychology through interactive discussions and engaging projects. I specifically remember how much joy I got out of the baby project and the midterm project. Before this class, I never would have imagined having so much fun analyzing the psychological aspects of a TV show. I also recalled the many stories you would tell us about your experiences in college and past years of teaching. These stories were so entertaining and never failed to make me smile. Even this year, whenever I would visit your class or pop in just to say hi, I would always leave feeling happier. I want to express my gratitude for the knowledge you have imparted to me, as well as the moments of self-discovery you have inspired within me. The influence of your guidance extends far beyond the confines of the classroom, shaping the way I approach challenges and view the world. I will miss being able to walk into your classroom whenever I want to talk to you, but the lessons you've taught me will always stay with me. This copy of Sybil is a small token of my appreciation for everything you've provided. As I embark on future endeavors, the things you taught me will undoubtedly guide me in the right direction. Thank you for being more than a teacher, for being a mentor, an inspiration, and a source of encouragement. I wish you the best in your retirement, with heartfelt appreciation.
You really are a very good speaker. I'm going to put her book with her certificate. Okay. Good luck to you.
Our next honoree tonight is Rohan Raman. He would like to major in biomedical or bioengineering. During his high school years, he's most proud of joining the swim team. One fun fact many people do not know about him, his favorite fast food is the hot dog and soda from Costco. Presenting Are You My Mother by P.D. Eastman to Marisol Ciccone, a member of the high school English department. Good job.
Ms. Ciccone,
I didn't come to high school looking for a mother. I already had my actual mother, yet I still found another one, you. I am going to be real. Your class was hard, and you probably take pride in that. I knew what I was getting into when signing up for it in 10th grade, but that didn't stop me from struggling as I adjusted to the new workload. Instead of leaving me to drown, you took the time to get me back on my feet. You would work with me on assignments outside of class, give me feedback during discussions, and check in on my progress. When I took your class, you were a great mentor, but since then, you've acted as more than that. Inside the high school, you have been my rock. You welcomed me onto the leadership team of your club, Amnesty International, and helped me learn the ropes. You were the first person I came to after I got into a car accident on my way to school a few months ago, or rather, you dropped everything and came to me in the middle of the day to comfort me. In school, if I ever needed someone to count on, you were there and you were ready. So you're more than a mentor to me, you're a mother. That's why I chose this book, because while I wasn't actively looking for a mother in school, I was looking for a figure I could trust, and that was you. While you do have children at home who call you mom, I hope you think of me as one of your high school children and that you love being my high school mom.
That is so wonderful. Congratulations. Good luck to you. Congratulations, Mom.
All right, our next honoree is Arav Ravula. He would like to major in computer science. During his high school years, he's most proud of placing at states as part of the Science Olympiad team. One fun fact that many people do not know about him is he solved the Rubik's Cube blindfolded. Presenting Physics of the Impossible by Mikio Kaku to Ken Sadowski, a member of the high school science department.
Dear Mr. Sadowski, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you. When I was selecting classes for my junior year, I was uncertain whether to take biology or physics. I knew I enjoyed physics, but freshman year physics on Zoom was less than ideal. Nevertheless, I decided to take a chance and enroll in Physics C. Looking back, I'm glad to have been part of your class. Through your organized lessons and fair share of corny jokes, I rediscovered my love for physics. I also met some of the coolest people in your class who I still talk to today. While I can't say I enjoyed assembling countless packets and lab reports, I'm confident that the skills and habits I learned in your class will serve me well in the future. Although I don't plan to major in physics, I'm certain that as I embark on the next chapter of my academic career, physics will be a part of it. I wish you continued success in your teaching career and hope you continue to ignite the flame of curiosity in all your students, just as you did with me. With gratitude, Arav.
Congratulations.
Our next honoree is Trisha Reddy. She would like to major in computer science. During her high school years, she's most proud of being selected for the New Jersey Governor's School of Engineering and Technology. One fun fact many people do not know about her is she can drive a stick-shift manual car. It's a skill. Presenting Alex's Adventures in Numberland by Alex Bellos to Tara Lynn Burniston, a member of the high school math department.
Thank you, Mr. Varela, and thank you everyone for being here tonight. Dear Mrs. Burniston, thank you so much for not only being the best calculus teacher, but also for inspiring and supporting me in countless ways. You've been a guiding light in helping me understand complex mathematical concepts, always approaching the topics with clarity and patience. Your passion for the subject made each lesson really engaging and interesting. You've not only equipped me with the tools to excel in calculus, but also ignited a love for exploring higher level math. The concepts you taught me have made navigating my current math course a fun journey. Even now, I still use your class's cheat sheets as a quick reference to recall formulas and rules. Beyond the subject, you've instilled valuable life lessons in me, revealing the joy of unraveling mathematical mysteries with perseverance. Your problem-solving techniques of breaking down the problem and choosing the right method are precious tools for my future endeavors. Your dedication to teaching goes far beyond derivatives, integrals, and differential equations. You've been a mentor, offering guidance and encouragement whenever I was in need. You quickly agreed to write me recommendation letters for colleges, which meant a lot to me and played a pivotal role in the process. Your faith in me has been a great driving force, and your management of the summer math tutoring sessions inspired me to tutor at the Homework Help Center. As I move forward, your lessons will continue to resonate with me, shaping me both academically and personally. Thank you so much for your dedication for teaching and for greatly impacting my years at SBHS.
Our next honoree tonight is Ishan Sinha. He would like to major in mathematics. During his high school years, he's most proud of serving as the president of the robotics team. One fun fact many people do not know about him, he has tried over 50 bubble tea flavors, and his favorite is coconut. Presenting The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho thanks, Dr. DeBarry. To Dr. Roberto DeBarry, a member of the high school science department.
I'd like to thank the board and obviously Mr. Varela for giving me this opportunity to thank Dr. DeBarry. So, dear Dr. DeBarry, it's been over 2.5 years since we met in chemistry, but I feel like that one class was not truly indicative of how our relationship has grown. I remember sitting in the back right corner of room 313, nervous about the first day back to school from a year of COVID. And by the way, room 313, I mean, you call yourself Dr. D in the 313. So I want to thank you for being an amazing teacher, showing us not only how to balance redox equations, but also bringing so much enthusiasm to the class. I loved being in your class, always filled with positive energy and excitement. The environment you build is truly heartwarming, and I see it in all the classes you teach, even with computer science this year. Secondly, I appreciate all the things you went out of the way to help me with. I remember specifically the chemistry Olympiad exam when you organized a way for me to take it over spring break. These moments fill me with gratitude, as I know you've always looked out for me and continue to look out for me to this day. I'm grateful to have a mentor like you in my life. And that Richard Feynman book you gave me was very, very funny. I always know I have a home in your classroom, and it's amazing to have this rock that I can always lean on, whether it's a random block during fourth block or first block where I randomly want to go see you. And I'm grateful for this opportunity to thank you in front of a live audience and for the tremendous impact you've had on my life. So I'd like to give you this book, The Alchemist, not because you were my chemistry teacher, but because how it's about a character realizing their destiny, and I know that you've helped me and many other students realize it theirs too. So thank you, Dr. Berry.
Congratulations. Good luck to you in the future. Thank you. Really wish you well. What is this, like 25? Congratulations.
Our final honoree tonight is Atharv Thakur. He would like to major in electrical engineering. During his high school years, he's most proud of leading and arranging music for the school flute choir. One fun fact many people do not know about him, he's a very good cook. Presenting Isaac Newton, the Principia by Digi Reads, to Shamila Christie, a member of the high school science department.
A foundational physics text for a foundational physics teacher. Dear Ms. Chishti, I write on behalf of our entire 2022-2023 1AB class when I say the following. Thank you. Thank you for all of the hard work you put into preparing thorough and informative lessons. Thank you for all of the thoughtful advice you gave us over the course of the year. Thank you for all the fun stories about your life you shared with us. Thank you for making Physics C the best part of our days. Above all, thank you for being a wonderful teacher. The sense of community and bonds you forged with your students were irreplaceable and helped create a classroom environment like no other. Never before have I been in a class where everybody was so genuinely excited to come in every day and learn.
A major factor in that sentiment was the fact that our class had become a sort of physics family, a feat only made possible by the warm and inviting atmosphere you created. There is without doubt no other teacher who I, and likely anybody else in our class, have ever been as close to. It was truly a joy to take Physics C with you. We will never forget our time in your class, and hopefully you won't forget us either. In the words of the great Rohan Patel, thank you, Ms. Chishti, for being our #1 physician.
Thank you. I want to thank each of our National Merit finalists for selecting just the right books for our teachers and for documenting and sharing the impact that they have had on your academic careers. I also want to thank our teachers for making a difference in their lives each and every day. Additionally, I would like to honor our students' parents tonight for their hard work and support. I'm going to show one slide here, and I ask all of our parents to please stand and be recognized tonight. Thank you. As I conclude my comments to turn the microphone back over to Mrs. Rogers, please join me in one more round of applause for our student scholars and our teacher honorees tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Varela, and thank you thank you to the entire staff of this school district. When you see the depth and breadth of these students, it's simply amazing. There's the old saying, right? Words matter. And the words that were said to you today, to every single teacher, I felt so much warmth. And it really resonates about what this district is about. We just talked about it in the curriculum meeting that we had. It's about kindness and empathy. And showing a student empathy and kindness, it resonates with them. I mean, if grammar school student remembers, you know, my own kids remember the teachers that they had. So thank you to the teachers, every teacher that supports the kids in this district, because there's many that do need that support. And those that are not represented here tonight, I'm sure they want to thank you just as much. And to the kids, your future's bright. It really is bright. The words, the way you spoke, it was eloquent. And I congratulate the parents for standing behind their kids and supporting them in the need, and whenever they needed that support. You guys are going to do great things. Thank you, and congratulations again. Oh, I'm going to. Thank you. So, as I did with the elementary kids, you're more than welcome to stay. But if you would like to leave, that's fine. I know you probably have homework to do or more college applications to fill out. So I'll take 5 minutes and you can go on your way. Thank you again. All right, at least we still have the crew.
Yay, Marvin!
All right, we're gonna move on to the next agenda item. Excuse me, my apologies. And that is board, committee, and liaison reports. To hear any updates, we will start with the Education Committee. You're first off.
The Education Committee met, can you hear me? We met tonight and we went over several things, but I'll have a full report at the next board meeting.
Thank you. We have business operations and town shared services. Any update?
Nope, we didn't meet.
Next week, right? I believe we have a meeting next week. Very good. So we'll have an update up to that. Okay, finance. Mr. Mitchell, any update?
Madam President, we have no report. We are scheduled to meet next Tuesday, however.
Very good. And policy committee, any update?
The policy committee met on February 8th, and in attendance were myself, Laura Hernandez, Deepa Karthik, Lisa Rogers, Scott Better, and David Pulowski. So we went over the wellness policy, 8505. And per the NJDA Division of Food and Nutrition, the Board of Education recognizes child and adolescent obesity has become a major health concern in the United States. The Healthy Hunger Free Kids Act of 2010 funds child nutrition programs and establishes required nutrition standards for school lunch and breakfast programs. And in accordance with the requirements of the Healthy Hunger Free Kids Act, each school in the district shall implement this wellness policy that includes goals for nutrition promotion, nutrition education, physical activity, and other school-based activities that promote student wellness. And as per the statute, the policy committee reviewed the wellness plan and determined that no changes were necessary at this time. We also went over the transgender policy 5756 as related to the regulation. That's it.
Very good. Any questions for policy? Okay, moving on. I'll just give a quick update on advocacy committee. The committee met on Tuesday. It was several people attend. We were missing a few people, but we moved forward with having subcommittees discuss the approach and the plan and a PR campaign for the various individuals and make sure that people, including students, the townspeople, the taxpayers, parents, as well as the town council itself and the legislative body. We are moving forward with a plan, a PR campaign, and a writing campaign for each of those. Once we have more information, as I had mentioned earlier, on the budget, we'll talk about that shortly, from the governor's office, those subcommittees will be moving forward with their plan of action. Okay, any liaison reports? Ms. Karthik.
So the high school PTO had a meeting on 13th of February. I attended that meeting. Mr. Decker had provided a presentation on the Summer Institute. It was very informative. I have to give a shout out to the high school PTO for organizing such informative sessions for for our parents and the community at large. So I'd encourage everybody to attend those meetings that happen once a month.
Any other liaison update? Yes, Dr. Raj.
Crossroads South recently, they hosted a show called Matilda. It was an awesome show, and the kids, as usual, did a great job. Kudos to Miss Capes and everybody at Crossroads South for putting a great show.
Very good. Any other liaison? Yes, Mr. Mitchell.
I want to read straight from my IG account.
Can you just go closer to the mic?
Sure.
Thank you,
not
sir.
A problem. Congratulations to the amazingly talented students at Greenbrook Elementary School who displayed their awesome projects at the school-wide science fair last night. Know that your efforts are much appreciated. Also, thanks to the parents, teachers, and the awesome administrators who inspire them to do their best.
Very nice.
Thanks. Back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Mitchell. Ms. Hernandez?
I missed this at the last meeting, but I wanted to give a shout out to the high school. We went and saw Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Oh, yeah.
It was awesome. And I brought my grandkids with me. And part of the play was having the characters in the audience. And one of the characters was sitting right next to us. And Monica was like, they like lost it. So it was awesome. It was awesome. And I didn't give them a shout out last time, and I definitely wanted to this time.
Very nice. Thank you. Anyone else? No? Moving on. Thank you very much for your updates on committee and liaisons. All right, moving on to the next agenda item is public comments on agenda items only. The Board of Education recognizes the value of public comment, public comment on educational issues and the importance of allowing members of the public to express themselves on school matters of community interest. Complete copies of Policy 0167, which govern this portion of the meeting, are available to the public at the auditorium entrance, online, or by contacting the board office. To permit the fair and orderly expression of comments, we ask that participants be recognized by the presiding officer and preface comments by announcing his or her name, the place of residence, group affiliation, and if appropriate, and by completing the sign-in sheet. Please print legibly, or we may be unable to document your name for the permanent record. Each statement may be made by a participant shall be limited to 3 minutes. No participant may speak more than once on the same topic. Mr. Pawlowski will indicate when you have 15 seconds remaining. All statements shall be directed to the presiding officer, and no participant may address or question board members, and no discussion between a participant and respondent shall extend the 3-minute time limit. Any requests for public comment, Mr. Pawlowski?
There are none at this time.
Thank you. Is there anyone in the audience that has public comments on agenda items only? Seeing none, we shall move on. Our next order of business is old business. I'd like to close out the seating at the dais. It is now closed. We will continue in this format for the remaining of the year. I'd like to thank Mr. Fetter, Mr. Pawlowski, and Mr. Carlson for your patience as we move forward with this change in seating. Thank you very much. So that closes out that issue. The next order of business is new business, and we will provide an update on the district budget for 24-25. This will remain on the agenda until the board approves the 24-25 budget. Just give you an update very quickly. So again, it will remain on the agenda. It will move to old business after today until the budget is voted on by this board. And just to give an update, on Thursday the 15th, the Senate Ed Committee approved various K-12 measures, including a bill S-2434 that would provide certain school districts with tax levy growth flexibility. You've all received a copy from me on the update, specifically from NJSBA. They did a really nice summary. So if you haven't had a chance, I urge you to review it to ensure the understanding of what we're facing this year, as Mr. Fetter has always provided us at every meeting, but to understand S-2434. I did get word just today, actually, that there is a sister bill. I don't have the number off the top of my head, but the Assembly has that up by our Assemblyman and woman. Assemblyman Freeman is sponsoring the bill, and I'm going to hopefully, with Mr. Fetter, receive an update from him as to the next the status update on that movement, where it will land in the Senate Ed, and then what will happen after that. So I'll provide you with that as well, the number. I just don't have it off the top of my head. I just got it. Again, we're going to wait for the governor's address next week to learn what total funding will be for South Brunswick state funding. And at this point, S-2434 is headed to the Senate Budget and Appropriations Committee. And as I had mentioned, in parallel, there'll be one with the Assembly. Any questions on where we stand at this moment with the 24-25 budget? Anyone? Any questions at all? Dr. Raj, go ahead.
I
Sure.
do
Lean
have
a little closer.
So I have a bunch of questions. I don't know if this is the right time or. This was about the numbers. I wanted to know if there are the levy cap. How much do we have the number yet? By how much we are to increase the tax levy in order to fill the hole that we are expecting.
Right.
I mean, all the numbers are not yet, but just
Right.
the expected.
That's really the bottom line. Right now, we have to really wait. We're on hold. I keep telling everybody we're like flying over Newark right now. We're in a holding pattern. And the only way that we know where we're going to land, if it's runway 1, 2, or 3, is once we get the information from the state. So we really can't, we can't even hypothetical. It'd be dangerous actually to do hypothetical because people will utilize that. So we need to wait patiently until next week. Hopefully, was it Tuesday or Wednesday? The governor? The 27th will be the governor's address. And once that happens, we'll get a better understanding of where we are on the state funding. Mr. Pawlowski, any other comments on that? No. Okay, Mr. Fetter? Any comments on that? Just want to make sure.
Am I doing what I planned on doing? or
Yeah,
you
you're
doing
gonna, yeah, absolutely.
doing, or-
No, you're gonna do it.
I'm doing it.
You're doing it.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm
Ask
sure.
questions.
I wanted to make
Because
sure
then they
first.
will have questions I can actually
Oh,
answer.
that's true. All right. Well, you know what? I forgot. So yes, do what you do.
Okay, why don't
and
we
then
do that?
there will be
Can you
questions.
spit out that, Reg?
I'm sorry. I didn't know he was going to do a presentation. My apologies, sir. I didn't know there was a. This is news to me too. I didn't know there was a presentation.
So one of the things that Lisa mentioned before was a Facebook post that's out there. And the reason I'm going to share this with the board, public's going to believe what the public believes. I'm not going to try and convince the public of anything. I would just tell the public if they'd at least been interested in truth or facts, do their work and don't listen to what people write on Facebook. But I say that all the time and it doesn't really work. So I'm going to try and do it with the board so that you know when you see the gobbledygook that gets put on Facebook, you at least know to ask questions before you make statements or believe what you read. That's my request of the board. So number one of the statements made by the person that runs the residence page on Facebook, okay, is that this bill, which we're going to talk about, allows for school budgets not being balanced properly to increase taxes. I would ask that person to come to the next board meeting and show where in the bill that piece of fiction came from. It is factually incorrect, it is ignorant, it is harmful to the district, and a waste of time. But this is what this person does. They do this on a regular basis. When you see things, well, again, I can't worry about what the public's going to choose to believe. When you 9 members see this kind of stuff, ask. Ask me directly. That's what my request of you. So that is a false statement. I would say it's a misunderstanding, but that would give the person credit that they just misunderstood. I don't believe that. I believe it's a flat-out lie to mislead and to make people believe that our problem is associated with what the board's actions have been. It is 100% nothing to do with that. If you remember my purple crayon reference, that's just the reality. I'm going to show you the numbers that show the reality, which are actual factual numbers, but not that. The second piece of brilliance, to the tune of up to 4%. This is literally a made-up number taken from I have no idea where. There's nowhere in the bill where it talks about the number 4%. It just literally is made-up nonsense. It could be 10%. I have no idea. The bill doesn't say that. The bill talks about other things related to, but gives no number. Why this person gave a number? Why would someone do that? To incite. That's why people behave this way, to purposefully incite. 3, and I'm going to need help on this one, so I did enlist the help of TikTok for this one, because if it happens on TikTok, it's definitely true. This was the comment. It also allows school health care costs to be included in increasing the tax levy to all taxpayers to make up the shortages for that. I found out what it means. That's pretty much what that statement means. If it means something else, David and I could not figure it out at all. No idea where that comes from, what it means, what it's talking about, no idea. And then this was my second favorite, because that really was my favorite statement, but my second favorite was, if enough people do not turn up to vote, it can be pushed through. Vote on what? What vote? Where are you voting? What imaginary voting booth is there? There's no voting. The bill doesn't mention voting. It's literally imagination at work. I have no idea where these things come from, but what they do is this, is they're purposely trying to make people believe something that isn't true. There's enough difficulty with this budget already. There's enough reality of what's going to happen if we have to cut $10 million. I do not need these 9 people who have been elected by these people to buy into this nonsense. If you do, I'm going to just play the little baby again. People say things. Look for facts. Ask people to, well, where does it say that? So I challenge that person. I would ask the board to give that person time at the mic, and I will question that person up here for as long as they're willing to stand there on these comments. Because we need truth. Here's what would be acceptable. So I'm going to give you this to this resident. I'm going to give you this. Disagree. Just disagree. Give an opinion as to why you disagree. I'm not going to argue with that. I'm not going to stand up here because you disagree. I'm going to stand up here when you lie. And when you try to mislead this community, that's when I'm going to stand up here. Not when you disagree. Disagree. If the bill passes and the board says we're going to do X and you don't like that, come to the mic and say, here's why I don't like that. No one's going to challenge that. That is democracy. Anyway, that's that. Now, let's give you some facts. And Smitha, this might help with the question you had. So, I have to swing over here, so sorry. So this is a chart. It's a very simple chart. The chart shows from the year 1819 to next year's projected numbers. The second column is the amount of state aid we have in that year. The third column shows if there's been a reduction or an increase. It's always been a reduction, so there's no reason to use the term increase. The next column is a cumulative. So total state aid loss is a cumulative number that adds up the amount of loss year over year. Budget rollover. That is not an actual number. That is our just estimate to give you an understanding of what it means. What that means is when you roll over the budget from one year to the next, that's how much money it costs to do what you're doing today to do that tomorrow, okay? And the 2% is generally 2% of the tax levy, and that's where that number 2.5 to 2.6, 2.7 million comes. So if you look at the second to last 2 columns, you have a budget rollover of 5 million and a 2%, which only gives you about 2.5 million, right? So this is what you hear me talk about every year of deficit model budgeting, where we start every year at a negative. Forget what the state does with state aid. We start at a negative. But what this chart shows is the magnitude of a compounded product year after year after year of what a 2% cap does to every school district, plus now the added of S2. So if you look to the far right, in the year 1, 1920 school year, we had a gap of about 2.5 million, right? And we lost 1.1 million. So we had to build the 1920 budget minus 3.6 million in spending. That would have been bad enough, but then the next year, which these are not cumulative on that last column, it was worse. We lost more money in state aid. Then the next year we lost less, thank goodness, but now it's a little bit more expensive to roll over the budget every year. 22, 23, lost a lot, still have a gap, and 23, 24 was a really bad year, lost 4 million, have a gap, and then this year is the catastrophic situation where we are currently slated to lose 5.7 million. We will know next week if that comes to reality or not. We hope it does not, but as of right now, by the way, this is not good news. In 23-24, third column, 3,954,000. You see, you're with me on that? That number we were told was going to be about 1.2 million. And they took 4 million. If we're supposed to lose 5.7 million and they go any higher than that, there's just nothing left to do. So when you look at next year, we'll have, if this comes to fruition, we'll have lost almost $15 million in state aid over the course of 6 years in the worst recession since the 80s. And with a 2% cap, which never existed in the 80s, schools could raise money what they needed to operate. So we have a 2% cap gap plus a state aid loss every year. That is a real number. The cumulative impact from 18-19, we're now operating with a $33 million shortfall in value. That's the reality. So you want to say that we've mismanaged the budget? How have we not lost everything that we know as of yet? How have we not done that? That's the question. You should be saying, how do we have anything left at this point? Because we've done what we've done as a board and as administration. But as you've heard me say, we're out of it. We're out of tricks. We got nothing left. So now let's go to the next slide. This is important you understand this part, and this is what you're going to get from us if the bill passes. So here's what the bill basically says. The bill, without getting into specifics, gives a district like us the potential for flexibility in going above the 2% cap. That's its primary purpose. It has some nuggets to it. It's got some jagged edges. It might go through some amendments. We can't really say. We don't know if it's going to pass. We have no idea. It could die in committee. We don't know. But if it goes through, what it's basically saying is, in a case like ours, you can go above the 2%. But as a board, you need to know what that means. It would be unfair for a Board of Education to vote on something they don't understand or know. So you're going to see something like this once we're ready. And we're not ready, not because of lack of preparation. We actually cannot give you the information yet. It doesn't exist to give you. David needs information from the township to be able to fill in the third column. The third column is the tax impact. He cannot tell you the tax impact until we know the ratables. We've had years where the ratables have gone up 9 figures, $100 million. And we'd have years that's gone up 50 million. 500 million. Now, if the ratables go down, we got issues. But if the ratables continue to go up, which is part of the problem of the local fair share issue to begin with, then we will input the data. We will show you what 2% looks like. Those are the dollar amounts, okay? Those are the pretty correct. We have to get the exact tax levy down, but that's about what the dollar amounts look like. So you figure each percent is worth about $1.275 million. That's a 1%. The 2% we'd be allowed to go is about $2.5 million. Cannot tell you the tax impact yet. But we're going to show you, it is our responsibility to show you what each one of those percentages will look like. The reason I stopped at 4.75% is the way the current bill is written. That's about as high as we'd be able to go, even if you wanted to go higher. Yeah, the best I can explain it is the ratables are the amount of money the town has. Let's just go with that for a second. Okay. And if we do a classroom setting, which is how I usually explain it. So if we have a classroom of kids with 20 students in it, and it costs us $100,000 to operate that classroom, and let's say that you pay a tax to have your kid in the class. With 20 kids in the class at $100,000, the tax is $5,000. Okay. But if we get 3 more kids at 23 kids, still one class, still $100,000 to operate the class, but it's less money per person. But we still collect the same $100,000. So as more money comes into the town, you can't collect more, right? We can't get more than the 2%. And then all the other money just starts to overflow out of the glass, and it gets spread amongst all the other people that pay taxes. So if the ratables get high, there's more money. That gets added to the pile, and then everyone's taxes get impacted. So I'm going to show you some other numbers in a second, and it'll help understand what that means. It's a positive. The higher the ratables, the more positive it is for tax impact. Now, what we'll give you is this exact chart, but under each place, it'll show what the tax impact would be for the average home.
I got another question.
Yep.
I know that some of our taxes is dependent on the businesses we have here.
That's part of the ratables.
Okay, that is part of the ratables.
David's going to help a little bit.
Your rateable is the value that's assessed on all of your commercial and real estate properties in the community.
Okay, so
Right now, our ratables our equalized valuation of all of our ratables about $4.9 billion.
now, is this when you talk about having our township reassessed again? This is what we're looking to do?
We're not looking for.
Well, I mean, that, when we say having the town, having it reassessed, is it, 'cause you're saying that the rateable depends on the taxes from the businesses and
It's not taxes from the business, it's the value, it's the value of the town based on real estate sales in the community.
So if our real estate sales are, like I look at what my house is valued at when I get the piece of paper from the township, it's way underrated than what I'm actually going to get if I sell it.
Your assessment is based on land value.
And building structure.
And building structure, but not the value of that house.
So if you, without getting into too much, if a warehouse is built in 1983 at $2 a square foot and sells in 2022 for $200 a square foot, that is a direct impact on your ratables because the value of that building has increased exponentially over time, and that value was never actualized by doing a reassessment.
Okay.
So a reassessment brings those massive gaps
Right.
back into alignment.
Right.
Okay, so your ratables are the assessed valuation or the value placed on your town based on its real estate and current
And so
market.
to that end, people ask us, when the 1,700 new homes are built,
Right.
won't we get more money for them? No.
The town will get more money, but no.
Well, what happens is, no one gets more money. What happens is the money comes in and then gets spread
Okay.
so that everybody pays a little bit less to operate. Unless their operations go up as a result, then you're adding to a higher pile. But we don't get more money because 1,000 kids move in, except for in state aid,
Right.
when it fits into the formula.
Right.
Nothing from local.
So David, if the township had to reassess our value, would that be a positive impact for us? Because I know one of the things we talk.
Yes, because you wouldn't see massive swings in the valuation of your town. So the fact that your town's value has gone unnoticed.
Right.
When you do have a sale like that, your valuation goes through the roof, and we can only tax 2% of the tax levy. So our local fair share is never going to equalize to the point where we're seeing the value. The township is never going to be able to pay its local fair share of tax for the school district because your equalized valuation is so far away from what the current base is, what your current tax base is.
Okay.
To change your tax base by reevaluating or reassessing.
Guys, I would suggest hold, let me finish,
Okay.
because some of it might become a little bit more clear.
Okay.
So you understand this side. This is what you'll get. You'll see what the district impact is, what the tax impact is. This is so far 6 years of tax impact. This is unheard of. This is also the problem. Over the last 6 years, the net tax on the school tax for the average home is negative $54. To David's point, we will never catch up. The concept of increasing the taxes at a 2% rate, we will never, ever, ever dig out of this hole. It's just a question of how bad it's going to get, how fast. That's where we are. That's what our town, that South Brunswick, if you have a $200,000 home, the school side of your tax, which is 60% of your property taxes, has gone down $54 over that 6-year period of time. Let that resonate. Another huge number in 25-26, $5 million is coming off of our debt service. That means that $5 million will not be collected from the town. The town will not collect $5 million in taxes. We don't need it anymore. We solve a bill goes away. Doesn't help us on the operations side. We can't use that money and push it over, but it does help taxes. So even if you added $5 more million in that year above the 2%, the town would not feel it, except they wouldn't see a decrease. Right now, as we're going with a 2% increase and $5 million off the books, they're going to get another big decrease. And that's good. No, who's against that? No one's against that unless it decimates your school district. Because once you decimate the school district and you don't have an award-winning marching band anymore, you don't have award-winning teams, you don't have AP classes, you don't have the colleges that kids are getting accepted to anymore, guess what happens to the value of your property? Forget your taxes. So far, minus 54 over a 6-year period of time. It's hard for me as a superintendent to hear arguments about taxing. It just is. I'll be honest with you. They're out there, but they're hard for me to hear. I'm about to fire $10 million worth of humans. You want to fight with me about taxes? Look at that. It's a hard argument. It's a hard argument. Next. No next. Maybe that's the last slide. Was it, right? Yeah, that's it. So we're talking about a tax situation. We're talking about a bill that is meant to help a district like ours. We don't know how it's going to play out. We don't know what the bill will look like in the end. We don't know if the bill will survive. If it does, you will all be given this slide with details before you are asked to do anything. That's how it has to be. Deepa, you had a question.
The question was, so the ratables, who defines the ratables and what's the timing for that?
Who defines what?
The ratables.
The township.
The ratables are based on real estate sales and handled directly through your tax assessor at your township level.
And the township will tell us that usually early March.
So if I see the calendar, which Dave...
Can you speak a little closer to the mic?
Okay, sorry. Yeah. And Dave, this calendar was very useful for, the one that you published. So you said, March, early March?
Yes.
And we have March 20th, we have the filing of the tentative budget. So we have a very short window to come up with this.
So let me say this out loud for you guys so you know. Our tentative budget, I love the word David uses, is going to be a fugazi.
I'm sorry, what was that?
A made-up pile of nothing. There's no chance we're giving you an actual budget in March to adopt. We're going to ask you to adopt a budget that balances. We might be paying for gnomes. We might be paying for, I don't know, maybe we're going to build 7 more buildings. I don't know. Whatever it is, it's going to have nothing to do with reality. We cannot operate this way and do due diligence for this community in the time frame the state decides it wants to work in. Our real budget will be done. You'll have everything in advance of the May 6th or 7th, whatever day that is, budget hearing. Unfortunately, we will continue to give you updates throughout March and April, but the March deadline for this tentative budget is a fugazi. I think David's plan is to say, we're not going to have 2 grades. We're just decided we're going to pick 2 grades and not do those 2 grades anymore. And we're not going to hide it, by the way. We're going to tell the county soup and just say, yeah, we're deciding we're not doing 11th and 12th grade next year.
Due to our state funding cuts.
Yeah.
We,
So we're now going to be a K-8 district.
Yeah, we're really not doing that.
Hypothetically.
Of course, everything
Please
I'm
say
saying
it.
is hypothetical,
Thank
but
you.
Facebook, enjoy.
Wait, I'm gonna short. Any other question, Deepa?
I have a number of questions, but if somebody else wants to go
You
first.
sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I just need more clarification, Dave.
let's keep going with all the questions from left to right, so we
Okay,
can just.
that's
keep-
fine. We can
keep
do
it
that.
going.
Go ahead, Deepa. If you have to drink water, drink
No
water.
ping,
Yeah,
no
so-
ping pong.
All right, so on this particular slide, we will get to know, what's our tax impact, right? Can you guys hear me? I hear an echo. Can you guys hear me?
It's hard to hear. Bring it
Put your
closer.
hands over the thing, I can't hear you.
Nice and close.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Closer.
Just kind of go right into the mic there.
All right. So it's clear that we have to decide, that the Board of Ed has to decide on what is the percentage increase that we are going to be sort of.
So the superintendent is, like everything else that you guys do, is going to make you a recommendation. You're going to decide to agree to the recommendation or not agree to the recommendation.
And this recommendation, just so that everybody is clear, whoever is listening to this particular meeting, and the recommendation will be based on?
Everything in the final right-hand column
Okay.
and the impact of the third column.
All right. So you've addressed who, how we are going to achieve, how we are going to arrive at the recommendation. You've addressed who is going to sort of finally vote on this recommendation. I also want to understand, will this, if once the board votes on it, and all of this will happen if this bill passes through both the houses, the Senate as well as the Assembly, and is not vetoed by the governor, and it's finally passed. These scenarios come into play only at that time. So my questions are, of course, premature, but just asking it here. The question that I had is, once the board, let's say the board votes, because it doesn't have another choice, right? Votes to increase these taxes, do the townsmen also vote on it?
The way the bill is currently written, there is no vote by anyone other than the 9 members of the board. Once you vote, it is a done deal. Nothing else happens after.
May I make a statement and correct me if I'm wrong? You're combining 2 things. The impact that you're looking at, the bill that's out there, and the impact to the budget. You can't look at it that way right now. You have to say, they're working on a budget, right? And it's looked at as if we get this much, this much, this much, this much, or if we get cut. The question then becomes, after they start to look at that, how much funding are we getting, right? So let's say we get money. So that's going to now give Dave the ability to say, okay, we're in this column. Let's say the state gives us enough money where we can sustain ourselves where we are. And then we get the 2% cap, which is already law. Okay? The bill.
Lisa, you said to stop me if you're wrong.
Let me finish, please.
It's not correct.
Okay.
The 2% cap allows the district to go to 2%.
Yes,
It is not,
I
you just
understand.
don't have to go to 2%.
I understand. So the 2% cap gets applied to the budget after we know when the money's coming in, because we're going to need the 2%, all right? We're pretty sure we're going to need the 2%. You saw the numbers. So we get the numbers. They then say, do we or don't we need the 2%? Let's say they add the 2%, okay? If the bill doesn't pass, that's where we are. If the bill passes, administration comes and says, okay, this is where we are with the funding that we received plus the 2% cap. In order to sustain ourselves, in order to improve ourselves, we need one of those numbers. They will tell what those numbers are going to give us. Dave will say, well, if you give us an extra 2% on top of the 2%, we're going to get an extra 2.5 million. What's that going to do for us? What are we going to get for that? So on and so forth. Then it becomes our job, if that bill passes, to decide where we want to land, what runway we want to land on, based on what the district needs. Okay? So for the moment, just temporarily, separate the two processes. The first process is the normal budget process, which includes the 2% and whatever state funding we get. That's the normal, that's what we did last year. Okay? We got our numbers, we knew we were getting cut, we got 2%.
I'm clear on that because we're not voting on that.
Right. No, we will be voting on that.
On the 2%, on the 2% that
We will be voting on a budget.
Correct. We are voting on the budget. We are not voting to increase anything beyond the 2%. We did not do that last year.
Okay. No. Try it. Yeah.
It's one budget. It doesn't
Right.
matter what the bill says or doesn't say.
Right.
Forget that. Forget all that. It's not accurate. What's accurate is this. Whatever, we're going to come to you with a number. If the bill doesn't exist, the number will most likely be 2%.
That's what I said.
You voted last year on the budget. You're not voting on a percentage. You're voting on the budget.
Right.
You voted on the budget last year. You're going to vote on the budget this year. Whether it's 2%, 7%, 3%, 2.5%, 2.25%, you're going to be asked to vote on the budget.
Right.
The answer to your original question was exactly what I said. When we get that, you will get that.
Right.
We will tell you what it means. We will ask you to vote. I will put together a proposal that says, here's what we believe you need to do, here's why. That will come from all of David's work, all the administrators' work. You will then, as a member of 9 people, have a budget in front of you. There's a lot of work that happens up to that point, but that's where you basically are, and that's what you'll vote on. The answer to your question was, after we vote here, which I think was pretty much your only question,
Yes.
the answer I gave you was exactly correct. Once the 9 of you are done voting, over.
That's what I wanted everybody else to hear besides us, because we all know it. So I just wanted to clarify to anybody who's listening to this meeting that once the 9 board members vote here, based on this chart, there is no more vote from the townspeople. There's nothing that's happening after that.
The way it works right now, there's no vote from the townspeople as of now.
Okay, and maybe you can address this later on. I don't want to hog all the time, but the last question I had, what would happen if this bill does not pass now?
The most you can go on the budget is the first row of 2%.
Which is what we did last year. Just 2%.
So the difference between, if the bill passes, so the difference between last year and this year, if the bill passes, when we do that one vote for the budget, instead of there being a 2% increase that wouldn't affect taxes on the taxpayers, it might be, and I'm throwing this number out there, 4%.
Could be.
Okay, so when we say, yes, we approve this budget, it's one vote.
Correct.
That we're approving the budget, but in that one sweep, we're also saying, yes, we're going to allow for taxes to be raised in order to pass this budget.
That's correct.
Okay. Okay.
And last question, if the bill passes, what would happen, not just this year, but the bill speaks only of 24, 25, right? It doesn't speak beyond that, correct?
So all I want to say about the bill is this. The bill is designed to give flexibility for districts in our circumstance to go above the 2%. This bill has a long way to go. It could get chopped up into pieces. It can get amendments. I don't want to speculate on anything after the bill's purpose, which is the design of the bill is to give a district like us tools that, if needed, can be considered to how to manage the cuts we're getting from the state. That's all I really am going to say too much about the structure of the bill.
Okay.
Barry? Anything? Julie?
I was in Trenton today for an assembly hearing on a bill that passed, I believe, enabling minors to access mental health services. And it appears to me that the state is ballooning out monies being spent for healthcare services that aren't related to school, and that the monies are moving away from school. So my question is, I said and spoke there that we have qualified counselors within our school. We do help our students. It appears to me not a good choice for the state to be moving out their money in an opposite direction. And I just wonder if this bill, if you think this bill is going to be helpful in helping parents to believe that their kids' needs are being met in the schools and not pushing out, to other outside services.
Yeah, I have no opinion on the two bills correlating.
Okay.
Sorry.
Alicia, anything else, Julie? Alicia, anything?
Said next week you would know.
Next week, on the 27th, the governor gives his address. Following the address, could be the same day, could be the next day or next day, we will get our state aid notification through the system, through the electronic system. David will be probably hitting refresh about every 12 seconds after the governor's finished with his speech. It doesn't happen until he does his speech.
Okay, if this bill passes, do you know around when that would be?
No. So the one of the challenges of the bill, without talking about the structure of the bill, is the timing. Because we have, Deepa's question was a good question about this March 20th, right? And we're going to give you a pretend thing to approve as a stopgap. It definitely won't be done by then. The bigger question though, is will it be done in time to access it for this year's school budget, right? So it's written, again, to Deepa's point, it's written in a way to be addressed this school year, but it has to go through the Budget Appropriations Committee, the Assembly, multiple committees in the Assembly, and then it has to get through all of that and then signed by the governor. Now that could happen in less than a month, or it could happen if there's amendments. It could knock it backwards. So lots of things can happen, but timing is a concern of the group as well. So thank you for that.
Okay, that's it.
Thank you, Alicia. Barry, one more time? No? Okay. Laura?
Yeah, I got a lot. I don't understand this, so I really need to understand this. So I'm going to kind of direct it a little bit to David. I want to go back to the variables. If the township reevaluates our property, will this bring up our ratables? Is that how that works? Okay, it doesn't. Okay, then
No. So
It's a confusing subject to a lot of
it is,
people.
but at the same time, the formula that the state uses has variables within the formula
Okay.
that put a value on your assessed evaluation or your equalized evaluation, the equalized valuation of the town, as well as the district income. So depending on what those variables look like year after year after year, they change them. And the changing those variables, if your town's worth, 4.9 or $5 billion, and they change that variable 0.1%, has a dramatic impact on how much the township actually receives or is cut with regards to state aid. So there's so many moving parts within this formula that it's difficult to give you a definition of a rateable in a town other than it's the value of the real estate within the community. But then they take that and they put an equalization number on it. They equalize it and they try to say that every town in the state of New Jersey should be worth about this with regards to a ratio. And then it's just a convoluted formula. Somebody asked a question, well, what happens after next year? Nobody knows what happens after next year because this year is supposed to be the last year of the S2 funding.
right? Okay.
And when I asked some people at the state level, what happens next year? Nobody knows. Nobody knows what the formula is going to look like. Nobody knows if it's going to go back to the old formula where we were actually receiving $24 million. Who knows what that formula is going to look like? So a side conversation we could have
Okay.
would probably be the best to try to look over at the formula,
Yep.
but to give a lesson on it right now.
That's fine, that's fine.
just
Yeah,
not-
we'll definitely talk about it, because I want to understand it, and I don't. And I really want to understand it a little bit better. I also heard, because I listened to the Senate hearing that you guys all went to, and Senator Henry Owen commented a lot on, when you were speaking, sounded positive. He was like, what happened here? You know, we really messed up a lot of districts, including South Brunswick, and is our responsibility to do something about that. Is there any further talk that it's going to go beyond us? You know, like, great if they lift that tax levy, okay, if we have to go beyond 2%.
I'll let Scott mention,
So-
because that's a
There's
lot of politics.
absolutely zero chance
Zero.
of anything happening this year
Okay,
related to the formula or the
Okay.
funding. However, it's not out of the realm of possibility that they'll throw another stabilization aid package our way.
this year.
That's this year.
Okay.
That's possible, for next year's use.
Okay.
That is possible.
Okay.
It's another timing, back to Alicia's question, that needs to happen before we finalize the May budget.
Right.
Because, you know, May 15th is this lady's deadline. May 15th, we're giving pink slips.
Right.
And if they don't tell us we have guaranteed money, we have to, David has to submit a balanced budget. That's it.
Right.
We can't say, well, we think you might give us money, so we're not going to do this. We can't do that. So we are at this time is very difficult. We need something to happen. We prefer SFRA funding to be completely redone correctly so that we're not getting hit like this and not have to burden taxpayers. Although, you know, I do want to remind everybody, we haven't burdened taxpayers. That's got to be repeated. We have not burdened taxpayers. So,
But we
but we
will.
don't want to be burdening taxpayers, right? Nobody wants to be doing that.
No,
So
if we
the best case scenario, Laura, is that happens. But where I disagree with the senator, and I agree he's correct on, yes, we need to do that. But I got a May 15th problem.
Right.
And when that's not resolved, it's $10+ million out of the South Brunswick school system. And that's not fixable after the fact.
It's not fixable. So if we pink slip some of these and then we get money.
Now, all those people have jobs and before the
Other
pink slip hits the
districts.
floor.
There's a teacher shortage. They're already looking.
We have people looking now because they're worried about their jobs.
Right.
Because this is the news that we have to share. We don't lie to people.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Other question?
I'll, when I talk to David.
Dr. Raj? Thank you.
I have some observation to begin with. So the S2434 in its current shape, it very curiously it puts the onus on the board, even though at other times the board pretty much has no autonomy and the state can walk over us and typically walks over us, pretty much nullifying our contracts that we have negotiated and imposes all sorts of definition changes on us, increases costs without care. But this time around, instead of fixing it at their level, they are pushing it to us. So we are making a decision on increasing the tax levy. So I find it very curious. The unpopular tax tax levy increase is pushed to the board, which they could have done it at their level. But that apart, and also pre-elections last November, there was talks of 100% funding for public schools, and this wasn't what was in my mind.
Can I explain that real quick?
Yeah.
So supporting 100% of the funding formula is what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's our
this
worst
was what I
nightmare
had imagined.
that they'll fund it 100% because the formula says we should have $5.7 million less. So we don't want them to fully fund anything. What we want them to do is close their doors and stay away from us.
Yeah, I
That's
would,
what we
I
want
would
them to
any
do.
day take that.
But the fully funding, when you hear that, it's when a district like ours hears that, it's like, oh, they're going to finally fund us. No, it's the exact opposite of for an S2 district.
So important.
Words matter.
I just think it's so important that, like, okay, even if this bill passes and, David, I just think you're amazing with money. I just gotta let you know that.
yeah,
Like,
32
absolutely
million.
amazing. It just blows my mind. So I know that you're gonna balance this budget. I know it. But I
I've got
look at.
$50 in my checking account. And a daughter in college, so.
Hey, well, she's in college and you have a roof over your head. You
Yeah.
balanced your budget. But I also, the fact with the government, and this just bothers me in so many aspects, that if we pass, let's just say down the road, I know Scott said it has to go through so many steps for this bill to pass. And we lift the tax levy up to 4%. Again, I'll throw that out there. I just feel like it's good for our teachers. Obviously, we do not want to lose any staff members, but I also feel like it's almost a smokescreen where they took money from us that we were entitled to. They took it from us, and they're like, okay, well, tell you what, we'll maybe pass this bill where we'll allow you to pay more money. So I think that's important that people realize that, and that we're back to, so Trenton out there, it's like that whole smokescreen. Okay, I guess we'll be nice and let you pay more of your own money. We took money from you, but now we'll let you pay more of your own money. So I just wanted to get it out there.
You needed to rant.
I needed to rant. I really did.
Dr. Raj.
So,
Somebody have a question?
Any more talks of improving the transparency, making the formula transparent around this season? No?
If you define transparent as opaque, yes.
For the funding formula.
For the funding formula, yeah. And also, there were other clauses in the bill, proposed bill, where the commissioner gets to, ultimately approve if it goes to the point where teaching staff or there is an instruction and support service reduction. Is it? I just don't get the rationale behind it. Why should the commissioner decide?
I think I'm going to refer to my answer that I gave Deepa. When it comes to the components of the bill, I'd like to just stay at the bill's purpose is to provide flexibility for districts to go above the 2% in certain circumstances. It has a lot of things in it that may or may not be there at the end. To sit and debate them now is a waste of our time, and it's going to confuse people because you don't know what it's going to look like at the end. I'd prefer to stay away from the contents of the bill at this moment. If and when the bill becomes a reality, we'll see exactly what it is. We'll have answers to all of that process and all of that, and be able to share that with you in the community so everyone is fully aware of how it plays.
Yeah, I think I got
Anything
all my
else?
answers. Yeah, everything was answered.
We're going to continue. Just hold on. Mr. Mitchell, any comments? Mr. Nathanson.
Okay. So I need to clarify some stuff, okay? And Scott, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I'm right, okay? If you look at this slide, okay, we've increased the 2% every year, and we're at negative 54 cents, dollars, okay? So the statement that we're increasing taxes if we move up to 4% or 5% is incorrect.
Well, it's not that it's incorrect. We don't know the answer.
Correct.
If this slide, again, look back here. Without this slide, everything is hypothetical.
Right.
This slide will determine the actual lack of hit that happens. Because I don't know that we're going to have too much conversation if 4.75% is a $10 increase per household. But if it's a $10,000 increase per household, we're going to have a conversation, right? And then there's a sweet spot in between $10 and $10,000. So to Barry's point, you got to just let it marinate for a little bit. The purpose of tonight is to let you know what is possible. You just have to be able to let it marinate. We don't have the answers yet. As soon as we can fill in this chart, we will.
So will we get to know the numbers as soon as this chart
As soon as we can fill in the numbers, we will.
We just don't know.
It'll be before you have to do anything as far as actionable on a budget.
Yeah.
Best we can tell you. I'm not giving you dates because I don't know them, and it's not in my control. I don't control the governor. I don't control the township.
Any other questions? Ms. Karthik?
I do agree with some of my board colleagues who made this comment that, it's very, I'm curious to read the language of this bill that puts the onus of the responsibility of a very unpopular and unpleasant sort of a decision on 9 people here. Though, most of the times we have very limited sort of, capacities to do things. You can't hear it? No, it's okay. Is it echoing?
Can't see.
So I do agree with that observation. And at this point, the conversation we are having is completely, at this point, a hypothetical conversation based on if-then kind of a scenario. So I think we will probably need to sort of put this, and as you said, Mrs. Rogers, this will be on the agenda for future, so we'll be discussing this, right? So this is not the end of this discussion, but I think it's important that we keep this conversation going for further clarity as things sort of become more and more clearer.
Yeah, and as I said, this will remain on until this board votes for the budget, and then we move it off.
Okay.
Any other questions? Scott, just one more comment. If you would do us a favor, and when you do get all this information here on the next page, where you show the 54 cents, if you would be so kind, turn the page. Turn the page. There. If you would be so kind, you and Dave, when you finish doing what you do, that number, that 5475, whatever it increases or decreases to, I'd like to see that number on it so that we could show the township that for the last, since 1819, it's been a negative 5475.
We believe this is
and
going
what
to
will
the
it
Shared
be?
Service Committee.
Right, and what will it be when that final number is? Is it a negative 50? Is it a negative 45? Whatever the number would be, so I'd appreciate that. Any other comments?
What is the 5 million drop? Is
Can
it
you
related to the
speak to it
ESIP?
since he's on his way back?
That service on construction in the district that's rolling off.
Okay, long back, I guess, yeah.
Any other comments before we move on? Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Dave. Okay. All right, so the next order of business is the consent agenda review by Mr. Pulaski.
Very quick agenda this evening. We have transfers, financials, and a bills list for the business office. We have a grant. We have a comprehensive needs assessment that needs to be done, mandatory by law, statute. We have a grant submission. We have an agreement for some DOT testing services for our drug and alcohol CDL testing for bus drivers. We have a resolution for approving the RFP process. We're awarding some bids for transportation, student field trips, as always listed. We have a HIB and bullying report listed. We also have the resolution for travel and related expense reimbursement for professional development for our teachers and staff in the district. And we're approving the extension of some professional services for students that are eligible for special education and related services. Those are our last 2 motions, and then you have your personnel.
Great. Any questions for Mr. Pulaski? Dr. Raj?
So on agenda item 1.5, so is there a dollar value associated with the comprehensive need assessment and the comprehensive equity plan? Is it mandated by state? And if it is not mandated and has a dollar value associated with it, can it be deferred given the budgetary constraint?
It's mandated by the Department of Education, so it is a must-do.
Okay.
And for, no, it's not?
Yes, it is. It's mandated, and
Yeah, and there's no dollar amount.
Oh, okay.
Right.
The only time you spend money is if there are elements within the plan that you decide.
Okay.
that you'd be spending money on, but more than likely that would be things you'd be spending money on anyway, not as a result of the plan.
Okay.
And I apologize, I was looking down the dais, all the way down to the far end where our staff are, and I said, it is mandatory, and then I got a head shake on that. The second part of the answer was that there is no money involved in
Okay,
that.
thank you.
Any other comments? To the right, to the left? Just a suggestion, maybe moving forward, if there's no money involved, just to make that statement so it's clear to the board members that there's no money involved. Thank you. Any other comments? None? Moving on, let's take we're going to take a vote. May I have a motion and a second for consent agenda for February 22nd, 2024? Motion by Ms. Hernandez, second by Ms. Karthik. Roll call, please.
Let's go. Ms. Julie Ferrara.
Accept.
Mrs. Laura Hernandez.
Yes.
Mrs. Deepa Karthik.
Yes.
Ms. Alicia Khan.
Yes.
Mr. Raja Krishna. Absent. Mr. Mike Mitchell.
Yes.
Mr. Barry Nathanson.
Yes.
Dr. Smitha Raj.
Yes.
Mrs. Lisa Rogers.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next is a second opportunity for public comments. Second opportunity for the public to comment on any matter. You are reminded of the previous statement made regarding public comment rules of policy 0167. Again, at the podium, please state your name, spell your name, and announce your place of residence and/or your group affiliation if necessary. Complete the sign-in sheet, and you are limited again to 3 minutes. Mr. Pawlowski, do we have any members who have pre-registered?
We have no pre-registrations.
Thank you. Are there any audience members who wish to make a public comment? Please approach the podium, state your name, spell your name, and your place of residence.
Hi, Lisa Garwood, Princeton Walk. You guys have been working hard, preparing for the nightmare of maybe having to sacrifice staff, programs, and ultimately the educational experience of our students by finding where it'll hurt the fewest people the least. Showing up at State Board of Ed meetings to speak vehemently against the cuts we and other districts are being dealt, working with Senator Zwicker to support Bill S-2434 so that we might have some wiggle room in what cuts South Brunswick must make. And during it all, having to deal with whining from our old friend Magesh, full of criticisms and empty of suggestions. So in an attempt to assist all of you, some facts, thoughts, and specific questions for Magesh that when he answers might enlighten us as to how, in his opinion, the board might do better. The bill has just made it out of committee and will now be seen by the Budget and Appropriations Committee. What will it look like after they make their suggestion? No one knows. Complaining about it now is making noise only. He complains that the potential increase in taxes will be put on the taxpayer. That's how taxes work. Magesh, you complain that the increase will include staff health care. Are you suggesting that state employees should not have health care covered, or just teachers? What specifically do you propose to help alleviate this dire situation? Concrete solutions only, please, and make your ideas public, not just known to your heavily censored groups. When were you, where were you when our board president, members of the advocacy committee, and South Brunswick students stood in front of the state board last week to speak out about this situation? Lastly, Magesh feels that senior citizens shouldn't have to pay taxes towards the schools. But it takes a village. How do you think school was funded when they were there? Everyone paid their fair share. Practically speaking, everyone should pay so that the value of our homes doesn't plummet when our schools suffer from lack of funding in order to maintain their excellent level of education. There is a direct correlation between school system success, crime rates, and real estate values. As he says, thank you and have a great day. And Julie, just so you know, the bill that you were talking about earlier was simply to lower the age from 16 to 14 for children to be able to receive mental health support without consent of their parents, which is great because if a kid is being abused or there's something going on in the home, asking their parents may make them very, very unsafe. So it's not changing anything except that they can go and seek the help that they feel they need, even if they're not comfortable asking at home. That's
Thank
all.
you for your comment.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. Any other public comments? Seeing none, I close this portion of the meeting. Just a real quick comment. When the time comes and the Budget and State Budget and Appropriations Committee meets, I ask each board member to consider coming and testifying. We need to show support for this district. If you can't come, feel free to write a statement. We can always have somebody read it. So just take that into consideration. I thank you for that. If there is no further business to be discussed, please note that the next scheduled Board of Ed meeting is set for Thursday, March 7th, 2024. May I have a motion to adjourn in a second? Mr. Mitchell move. Ms. Ferreira second. All in favor? Aye. Great. Meeting is adjourned at 9:20 p.m. And thank you all and good night, South Brunswick.